All in a golden afternoon, full leisurely we glide, for both our oars with little skill by little arms are plied, while little hands make vain pretense our wanderings to guide. Ah, three sisters in such an hour, and beneath such dreamy weather, to beg a tale, oh, from a voice too weak to stir the tiniest feather. Yet what can one poor voice avail against three little girls together? The oldest sister, she flashes forth her edict. To begin with, in gentler tones the middle girl hopes, there will be nonsense in it. Well, the littlest girl interrupts the tale not more than once a minute. At last, to sudden silence won, in fancy they pursue a dream child, moving through a land of wonders, wild and new, in friendly chat with bird or beast, and half believe it true. And ever, as the story drains the wells of my fancy dry, and faintly strives this weary one to put the subject by, well, the rest next time. Oh, it is next time, the happy voices cry. Thus grew the tale of Wonderland. Thus, slowly, one by one, its quaint events were hammered out. And now, the tale is done. And home we steer, a merry crew, beneath the setting sun. Alice, a childish story take, and with gentle hand, lay it where childhood's dreams are twined in memory's mystic band, like a pilgrim's withered wreath of flowers, plucked in a far-off land.
Those verses.
Now, Alice, you know teacher said you must have them memorized by your next lesson.
But why must they be so boring and repetitive?
To prepare oneself for life, my dear. Why don't you sit down over there underneath your favorite tree and memorize your verses like a good girl, while I go into the house and prepare our lunch?
Dinah, what's the use of a book without pictures or conversations? I should think the verse would be much more interesting if it had pictures. When I grow up, my life will not be boring and repetitive. I should go on many adventures, and my children will not have to learn these dull verses.
Alice, I can see you from the kitchen window. There will be no lunch until you learn today's verse.
Well, Dinah, I guess it's no use putting off my lessons, although I'm really not very hungry and shouldn't mind missing lunch. When I was young, my ringlets waved and curled and crinkled on my head. And then they said, you should be shaved and wear a yellow wig instead. But when I had followed their advice, and they had noticed the effect, they said I did not look so nice as they had ventured to expect. What a curious verse, and a shame they were not happy with her hair just as it was. It sounded quite lovely. Perhaps just a short nap before I finish my studies.
Oh dear, I shall be too late.
How here he is. I never saw a rabbit with a pocket watch before. It appears he's gone down the rabbit hole. I should like to follow him. This is a very long, dark tunnel. Well, after such a fall as this, I shall think nothing of tumbling downstairs. I wonder how many miles I've fallen by this time. I must be getting somewhere near the center of the earth. Let me see. That would be 4,000 miles down, I think. Yes, that's about the right distance. But then I wonder what latitude or longitude I've got to. I wonder if I shall fall right through the earth. How funny it will seem to come among people that walk with their heads downwards. Dinah will miss me very much tonight, I should think. I hope they remember her saucer of milk at tea time. Oh, Dinah, my dear, I wish you were down here with me. Oh, my ears and whiskers. How late it's getting. This key fits the locks perfectly. It must open this funny little door. I wonder what's behind it. There's the most beautiful garden on the other side. I would love to wander about among the bed of bright flowers. But even my head will not fit. It is indeed impossible for me to pass through. The label says, "Drink me." Well, I shan't do that in a hurry. It may be poisonous. I've read several stories of children burnt and eaten by wild beasts or drank from a bottle marked poison. It is almost certain to disagree with you sooner or later. Well, this one is not marked poison. I'll venture a taste. Oh dear, I've left the key on the table. How will I ever reach it? What a very small and beautiful cake. There are words marked in currants. They say, "Eat me." Well, I'll eat it, and if it makes me grow larger, I can reach the key. If it makes me grow smaller, I can creep under the door. So either way, I'll get into the garden, and I don't care which happens. I've grown so large, I cannot see my feet. Goodbye, feet. I wonder who'll put your shoes and stockings for you now, my dears. I'm sure I shan't be able. I shall have to be kind to you, or you won't walk the way I want to go. Let me see. I'll give you a new pair of boots every Christmas. They'll have to be mailed, of course. How funny it'll seem mailing boots to one's own feet. Oh dear, what nonsense I'm talking. But now I can reach the key.
Oh, the Duchess. Oh, how savage you would be if I kept her waiting.
Well, through the door I go. Let me think. Was I the same when I got up this morning? I almost think I can remember feeling a little different, but if I'm not the same, the next question is, who in the world am I? That's a great puzzle.
Why, look. Do you see what I see? It's a girl coming to the garden.
A girl? Where? Oh, I see her. She doesn't appear to be from around here. Where do you suppose she came from?
Who cares? She's probably some relation to the Queen of Hearts. Poor girl. She'll probably lose her head today.
Tisk, tisk. So true. So true.
Talking flowers? Well, this is most definitely a puzzling day.
We can talk when there is someone worth talking to.
Can all flowers talk?
As well as you can, and a great deal louder.
If you please, can you tell me if you smell?
Smell? Smell? What on earth do you mean, girl?
It's just that flowers in my country do not talk, yet they have a wonderful aroma. I just wondered if flowers that do talk can also smell.
Don't be stupid. Of course we cannot smell. We are flowers, and we do not have noses.
Well, there's no need to be rude.
Why are you here, girl?
I'm not exactly sure. I was sitting under my favorite tree, learning my lessons for teacher, when suddenly a white rabbit appeared. He talks too, you know, and I followed him. I shrank and I grew and I shrank again, and I walked through a small door, and here I am.
That's a peculiar reason.
Mouse is most screechingly funny stories.
Yes, they always quack me up. He's a chip off the old block. Well, in that case, I believe the story does commence for the immediate adoption of energetic diversion from one's home of speak English. I don't know the meaning of half those long words, and what's more, I don't believe you do either. I was merely suggesting that Mouse begins a story before we all get bored.
What's the story about?
Mine is a long and sad tale. Let us both go to law. I will prosecute you. Come, I'll take no denial. We must have a trial, for really this morning I've nothing to do. Said the mouse to the cur, such a trial, dear sir, with no jury or judge, would be wasting our breath. I'll be judge, I'll be jury, said cunning old Fury. I'll try the whole course and condemn you to death. You are not attending! What are you thinking of?
I beg your pardon, sir, but it does not appear sad to me at all.
No, not really.
What? You won't insult me by talking such nonsense.
Oh, I didn't mean it, but you're so easily offended, you know. Oh, please do come back and finish your story. What a pity it wouldn't stay. I wish Dinah were here. She'd soon fetch it back.
And who is Dinah, if I might venture to ask a question?
Oh, Dinah's our pet cat. She's such a capital one for catching mice. Oh, and you should see her after the birds. Oh, she'd eat a little bird as soon as look at it.
That was a very peculiar thing to say. I hope she doesn't enjoy the flowers.
Yes, I wish I hadn't mentioned Dinah. She really is the best cat in the world. Dinah, my dear, I wonder if I shall ever see you again. I hardly know, sir. At least, I knew who I was when I got up this morning. But since then.
What do you mean by that? Explain yourself.
I can't explain myself, I'm afraid, sir, because I'm not myself, you see?
I don't see.
I'm afraid I can't put it more clearly for you to see. I don't quite understand it myself.
You. Who are you?
I think you ought to tell me who you are first.
Why? Come back. I have something important to say. Keep your temper.
Is that all?
No. So you think you're changed, do you?
I'm afraid I am, sir. I don't stay the same size for more than 10 minutes, and I can't remember things.
Can't remember what things.
Well, I tried to say, how doth the little busy bee, but it all came out wrong.
Repeat. You are old, Father William.
You are old, Father William, and your hair has become very white, and yet you incessantly stand on your head. Do you think at your age it is right? In my youth, Father William replied to his son, I feared it might injure the brain, but now that I'm perfectly sure I have none, why, I do it again and again. You are old, said the youth, and your jaws are too weak for anything tougher than suet. Yet you finished the goose with the bones and the beak. Pray, how did you manage to do it? I've answered your question, and that is enough, said his father. Don't give yourself airs. Do you think I can listen all day to such stuff? Be off, or I'll kick you downstairs.
That is not said right.
Not quite right, I'm afraid.
It is wrong from beginning to end. What size do you want to be?
Well, I should like to be a little larger. 3 inches is such a wretched height to be.
It is a very good height indeed. You'll get used to it in time. Oh, very well, if you must. This side of the mushroom will make you grow taller. The other side will make you grow shorter.
I'm glad the caterpillar was right, it would make me grow larger. Oh, what a curious creature he was. I wish he wasn't so easily offended. How puzzling all these changes are. I'm never sure what I'm going to be from one minute to the next. And now that I'm back to my right size, it's time to find that white rabbit. Get in.
There might be some sense in you knocking. If we had a door between us, for instance, you would knock, and I would let you out, you know. I shall sit here till tomorrow. Or I shall sit here till the next day, maybe.
But then how am I to get in?
Are you to get in at all? That's the first question, you know.
This is really quite dreadful. But what am I to do?
Anything you like.
grins like that?
It's a Cheshire cat. That's why. Pig.
I didn't know Cheshire cats always grinned. In fact, I didn't know they grinned at all.
Well, they all can, and most of them do. You don't know much, and that's a fact.
Oh, please! Mind what you're doing. You might hit the baby.
If everybody minded their own business, the world would go round a deal faster than it does.
That would not be much of an advantage. For you see, the Earth takes 24 hours to turn around on its axis.
Oh, speaking of axes, chop off her head!
24 hours, I think, or is it 12?
Please, do not bother me. I'm never going to abide by figures. Speak roughly to your little boy and beat him when he sneezes. He only does it to annoy because he knows it teases. Wow, wow, wow. I speak severely to my boy. I beat him when he sneezes, for he can thoroughly enjoy the pepper when he pleases. Wow, wow, wow. Here, you can rock it for a bit if you'd like. I need to go get ready to play croquet with the Queen of Hearts.
I couldn't possibly return you to that very strange woman. I think I'll take you with me. Don't grunt. That's not at all a proper way of expressing oneself. And squealing isn't very proper either. Why, you're beginning to grow a snout. And a little curly tail. If you're going to turn into a pig, my dear, I'll have nothing more to do with you. Cheshire cat, would you tell me please which way I have to go from here? That depends a good deal on where you want to get to. I don't care much where, then it doesn't matter which way you go, as long as I get somewhere.
Oh, you're sure to do that, if you only walk long enough. In that direction lives the Mad Hatter, and in that direction lives the March Hare. Visit either you like, they're both mad.
But I don't want to go among mad people.
You can't help that. We're all mad here. I'm mad, you're mad.
How do you know I'm mad?
You must be, or you wouldn't have come here.
And how do you know you're mad?
To begin with, a dog's not mad. Grant that. Well, you see, a dog growls when it's angry and wags its tail when it's pleased. Now, I growl when I'm pleased and wag my tail when I'm angry. Therefore, I'm mad. Do you play croquet with the Queen of Hearts today?
I should like to play, but I haven't been invited yet.
You'll see me there. By the by, what became of the baby? I nearly forgot to ask.
It turned into a pig.
I thought it would.
I've seen hatters before. I'm not sure it'll be much more interesting. And perhaps, as this is May, it won't be raving mad. At least, not as mad as it was in March.
Did you say pig or fig?
I said pig, and I wish you wouldn't keep appearing and vanishing so suddenly. You make one quite giddy.
All right.
Who knew Cheshire cats could grin? And a beautiful grin at that. wasn't very civil of you to offer it.
It wasn't very civil of you to sit down without being invited.
I didn't know it was your table. It's laid for a great many more than 3.
Your hair needs cutting.
You should learn not to make personal remarks. It's very rude.
Why is a raven like a writing desk?
I believe I can guess that.
Do you mean you think you can find out the answer to it?
That is what I just said.
You should say what you mean.
I do. At least I mean what I say. That's the same thing, you know.
Not the same a bit. Why, you might as well say, I see what I eat is the same thing as I eat what I see.
You might as well just say that I like what I get just the same as I get what I like.
You might as just well say that I breathe when I sleep is the same thing as I sleep when I breathe.
It is the same with you. What day of the month is it?
The 4th.
2 days wrong. I told you butter wouldn't suit the works.
It was the best butter.
Yes, but some crumbs must have gotten in as well. You shouldn't have put it in with the bread knife.
It was the best butter, you know. Should have used a spoon.
Of course. Just what I was going to remark myself.
Have you guessed the riddle yet?
No, I give up. What's the answer?
I haven't the slightest idea. $6 Switch!
I think you might do something better with your time, rather than wasting it asking riddles that have no answers.
If you knew time as well as I do, you wouldn't talk of wasting it. Time is a hymn.
I don't know what you mean.
Of course you don't. I dare say you never met time, nor ever spoke to him.
Perhaps not, but I know I have to beat time when I practice my piano lesson.
Ah, he won't stand beating. We quarreled last March, just before he went mad, you know. It was at the great concert given by the Queen of Hearts. I had to sing. Twinkle, twinkle, little bat, how I wonder what you're at. Twinkle. You've heard the song, perhaps?
I've heard something like it.
It goes on, you know. Up above the world you fly, like a tea party in the sky. Twinkle. Well, just before I had finished the first verse, the Queen of Hearts growled out, "He's murdering the time! Off with his head!"
How dreadfully savage.
Yes, and ever since then, time won't do a thing that I ask. It's always 6 o'clock now.
Is that the reason so many tea things are laid out here?
Yes, that's it. We've no time to wash the things between whiles.
Then you keep moving around, I suppose.
Exactly so, as they get used up.
But what happens when you come to the beginning again?
Don't change the subject! I'm getting tired of this! Take some more tea.
I've had nothing yet, so I can't take more.
You mean you can't take less? It's very easy to take more than nothing.
Nobody asks your opinion.
Who's making personal remarks now? 6 o'clock. Switch!
Oh, I should like to play, but I don't know the way there.
Well, in that case, Her Majesty's garden is that way.
Be careful, my dear. The Queen of Hearts has quite a temper.
And a thing for heads.
Really? Now, if you ask me, I don't think.
Well, then you shouldn't talk.
This is the stupidest tea party I was ever at in all my life. She'll leave and never come back.
6 o'clock. Switch.
What perfectly silly characters. Very happy to leave that bunch behind. Everything's so curious today. I wonder if I shall see the Cheshire Cat again. And where is that white rabbit? I wonder if he's in the Queen of Hearts garden. I shall go and see if I can play croquet with the Queen of Hearts. A curious day.
Get down, 5. Don't go splashing paint over me like that.
I couldn't help it. 7 jogged my elbow. That's right, 5. Always lay the blame on others. You'd better not talk. I heard the Queen of Hearts say only yesterday you deserve to be beheaded.
What for?
That's none of your business, too. Yes, it is his business, and I'll tell him. It was bringing a cook tulips instead of onions. All the unjust things.
If you please, could you tell me why you're painting those roses?
Why, the fact is, you see, miss, we were supposed to put in the red rose tree if we put in the white one by mistake. And if the Queen of Hearts were to find out, we should have let our heads cut off, you know. So you see, we're doing our best before she comes.
The Queen of Hearts! The Queen of Hearts!
God save our
Who is this?
Idiot! What is your name, child?
My name is Alice. So pleased, Your Majesty.
And who are these?
How should I know? It's no business of mine.
Out with her head! Out!
Nonsense!
Consider, my dear, she's only a child.
Do you play croquet?
Yes.
Stand up. What have you been doing here?
May it please, Your Majesty, we were just trying
I
to...
see! Out with their heads! Very fine day.
Very. Where's the Duchess?
Hush, hush. She's under sentence of execution.
What for?
She boxed the Queen's ear. Hush! The Queen will hear you.
Get to your places!
Thank you.
Let the game begin.
You're
mock turtle soup is made from? Come on then, we shall tell you his story. Lazy thing. And take this young lady to see the mock turtle to hear you tell his story. I must go back and see after the executions I ordered.
What fun?
What is the fun?
Oh, why, she. It's all her fancy act. They never execute nobody, you know. Come on.
What's his sorrow?
Oh, it's all his fancy. He hasn't done no sorrow. This here young lady, she wants to know your history, she do.
I'll tell her it. Sit down, both of you, and don't speak a word till I finish. Once, I was a real turtle. When we were little, we went to school in the sea. Our master was an old turtle. We used to call him Tortoise.
Why did you call him Tortoise if he wasn't one?
We called him Tortoise because he taught us. Really, you are very dull.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself for asking such a simple question. Drive on, old fellow. Don't be all day about it.
Yes, we went to school in the sea, though you mayn't believe it. We had the best of educations. In fact, we went to school every day. We studied French, music, and washing.
Washing?
Reeling and writhing. And then the different branches of arithmetic. Ambition, distraction, uglification, and derision.
What is uglification?
Oh, what? Never heard of uglifying? Well, you know what to beautify is, I suppose. Well then, if you don't know what to uglify is, you really are a simpleton.
We also learned history, ancient and modern, with geography, then drolling. The drolling master was an old conjure eel that used to come once a week. He taught us drolling, stretching, and faking in coils.
I never learned that myself. Hadn't time. I went to see the classical master, though. He was an old crab that he was. But he taught us laughing and grief, they used to say.
So he did, so he did. We lessoned 10 hours the first day, 9 the next, and so on.
What a curious plan.
Oh, that's the reason they're called lessons, because they lesson from day to day. Oh, that's enough about lessons. Tell her something about the games now.
You may not have lived much under the sea, and perhaps you were never even introduced to a lobster. So you can have no idea what a delightful thing a lobster quadrille is.
No, indeed.
Well, first, you form them into a line along the seashore.
2 lines, 2 lines. Seals, turtles, salmon, and so on. Then, once you clear all the jellyfish out of the way,
Oh, that generally takes some time.
you advance twice, each with a lobster as a partner. Of course, advance twice sets of partners.
Change partners and retire in the same order.
Then you know you throw the
lobsters!
as far out into the sea as you can.
Swim after them.
Turtle somersaults in the sea.
Change lobsters again.
Back to land again, and that's all just the first figure.
Oh, it must be a very interesting dance to watch.
Would you like to see a little of it? Come, let's try the first figure. We can do it without the lobsters, you know. Who shall sing?
You sing. I've forgotten the words.
Will you walk a little faster, said a whiting to a snail? There's a porpoise close behind us, and he's treading on my tail. See how eagerly the lobsters and the turtles all advance. They are waiting on the shingle. Will you come and join the dance?
Will you, won't you, will you, won't you, will you join the join the dance.
Thank you. It's a very pretty dance to watch.
Oh, as to the whiting, you've seen them often, of course?
Of course.
So you know they have tails in their mouths. And the reason is, tell her the reason and all that.
The reason is that they would go with the lobsters to the dance, so they got thrown far out to sea. So they had to fall a long way, so they got their tails stuck in their mouths, so they couldn't get them out again. That's all.
Do you know why it's called a whiting?
It does the boots and shoes.
Does the boots and shoes?
Why? Well, what are your shoes done with? I mean, what makes them so shiny?
They are done with blacking, I believe.
But boots and shoes under the sea are done with whiting. Now you know.
And what are they made of?
Soles and eels, of course. Any shrimp could have told you that. Shall we try another figure of the lobster quadrille? Or would you like the mock turtle to sing you another song?
Oh, a song, please, if the mock turtle will be so kind.
Sing her turtle soup, would you, old fellow?
Beautiful soup, so rich and green, waiting in a hot tureen. Who for such dainties would not stoop? Soup of the evening, beautiful soup. Soup of the evening, beautiful soup. Beautiful soup, beautiful soup. Soup of the evening, beautiful, beautiful soup. Beautiful soup, who cares for fish? Game or any other dish? Who would not give all else for two? Pennyworth only a beautiful soup. Pennyworth only a beautiful soup. Beautiful soup, beautiful soup. Soup of the evening, beautiful, beautiful soup.
The trial's beginning. Come on.
Trial? What trial?
Come on. Come on.
Who are they?
They are the jury.
And what are they writing?
They are putting down their names for fear they should forget them before the end of the trial.
Silence in the court.
Read the accusation.
The Queen of Hearts. She made some tarts, all on a summer day. The Knave of Hearts, he stole those tarts and took them quite away.
Consider your verdict.
Not yet, not yet. There's a great deal to come before that.
Call the first witness.
First witness.
I beg pardon, Your Majesty, for bringing these in, but I hadn't quite finished my tea when I was sent for.
You ought to have finished. When did you begin?
14th of March, I think it was.
15.
16.
Write that down.
You'd hardly begun the tea, you know.
I'd hardly begun my tea.
Only a week or so ago.
It was only a week or so ago, and the March Hare said...
I did it!
You did?
I deny it!
He denies it. Leave that part out.
Well, at any rate, the March Hare said...
No, I didn't!
Well, at any rate, the Dormouse said... And after that... And after that...
He cut some more bread and butter.
But what did the Dormouse say?
That... I can't remember.
Well, you must remember, or I'll have you executed.
I'm a poor man, Your Majesty. And with the bread and butter getting so thin, and the twinkling of the tea,
Twinkling of what?
it began with the tea.
Well, of course, twinkling begins with a T. Do you take us for dunces?
I'm a poor man, Your Majesty, and most things twinkle after that. Only the Dormouse said, I can't remember.
May we sit down now?
Yes.
Okay.
Call the next witness. Listen, call the next witness.
The next witness.
Give your evidence.
Shut!
Your Majesty must cross-examine this witness.
I must. What are tarts made of?
Pepper, mouse play,
And treacle.
call in that Dormouse. We have that Dormouse. Turn that Dormouse out of court. Suppress him. Kick him out with his whiskers. Superficial pickle juice. Tomato.
Never mind. Call the next witness. Really, my dear, this cross-examining witness makes my forehead ache.
I wonder who the next witness will be. Well, they really haven't got much evidence yet. And that Hatter didn't quite have it together.
The next witness, Alice.
Me? Me?
And what do you know about this business?
Nothing?
Oh, nothing whatever.
Nothing whatever.
Oh, that's very important. Write that down.
Unimportant, Your Majesty means, of course.
Unimportant, I meant, of course. Important, unimportant. Important, Consider your verdict.
There's more evidence to come yet. Please, Your Majesty. This paper's just been picked up.
What is it?
I haven't opened it yet, but it seems to be a letter written by the prisoner to someone.
Well, it must have been written to someone, unless it was written to nobody, which isn't usual, you know.
It isn't a letter after all. It's a set of verses.
Are they in the prisoner's handwriting?
No, they're not. It's the queerest thing about it.
He must have imitated somebody else's hand.
Please, Your Majesty, I didn't write it, and they can't prove that I did. There's no name signed at the end.
Well, if there's no name signed at the end, that only makes matters worse. You must have meant some mischief, or else you'd have signed your name like an honest man.
And that proves his guilt, of course.
And so
It doesn't prove anything of the sort.
Let the jury consider their verdict.
No. Sentence first, verdict afterwards.
Stuff and nonsense. The idea of having the sentence come first.
Hold your tongue.
I won't.
Out with her head.
There's so many mice and birds, a funny little caterpillar sitting on a mushroom, a smiling cat, that attended the strangest tea party with the funniest little man, and the most dreadful queen with such a temper. So many more characters, I can't recall them all. Where did that come from? Oh, what a beautiful looking glass. You can see our garden right through it. Well, looks just the same as our garden, only everything goes the other way. I can see all of it if I stand on my tiptoes, or look this way, or that. Wouldn't you like to visit the Looking Glass Garden, Dinah? I'm sure it's got, oh, such lovely creatures. Let's pretend there's a way of getting through. Let's pretend it's gauze, so we can step right through. It's turning to a soft mist. It'll be easy to get through.
Children of pure unclouded brow and dreaming eyes of wonder, though time be fleet and, well, I and thou are half a life asunder, your loving smiles will surely hail the continuing of this our fairy tale. I've hardly seen your sunny faces or heard your silver laughter, and no thought of me shall find a place in your young lights hereafter. Enough, that now you will not fail to listen to this my fairy tale. It's a tale begun in other times, when summer suns were glowing. It was a simple chime that served to time the rhythm of our rowing, and whose echoes live in memory yet, though envious time will say, forget. Outside the frost, the blinding snow, the storm wind's moody madness, but within, the firelight's ruddy glow, and childhood's nest of gladness. These magic words shall hold you fast. You shall not hear the storm wind's blast. And though the shadow of a sigh may tremble through the story for happy summer days gone by and vanished summer glory, it shall not touch with breath of bale the pleasance of this, our fairy tale.
Well, I imagine the Looking Glass Garden would be quite common and uninteresting, but it's as different as possible. I've declared it's marked out just like a chessboard. How strange is that? I do hope I've entered the right garden.
You, girl, where did you come from? And where are you going? Chin up, speak nicely, and don't twiddle your fingers all the time.
I beg your pardon, Your Majesty, but I think I may have lost my way.
Your way? Well, I don't know anything about your way. All the ways around here belong to me. Why did you come here at all? Curtsy, my dear, while you're thinking what to say. It saves time. It's time for you to answer now, so open your mouth a little wider when you speak, and always say, Your Majesty.
your pardon, Your Majesty. I only want to see what the garden was like. It looks just like a chessboard. I wish I could play. I wouldn't mind being a pawn, but I should like to be a queen best.
Well, that's easily managed. You can be the White Queen's pawn. We're in the 2nd square now, and when you get to the 8th square, you become queen. Run! Quickly! Quickly! Run! No time! Faster! No time to chit-chat! Faster! There. Now you may take a rest.
Are we nearly there?
Nearly there. Why, we passed it 10 minutes ago.
But we're exactly where we started. Everything's just as it was.
Well, of course it is. What would you have it?
In our country, you generally get to somewhere else if you ran very fast for a long period of time, as we've been doing.
A slow sort of country. You see, here it takes all the running one can do just to keep in the same place. If you want to get somewhere else, you must go at least twice as fast as that.
I'd rather not.
Now, if you want to be a queen, you shall need directions. And I shall give you those directions. At the end of 3 steps, I shall repeat them, for fear of your forgetting them. At the end of 4, I shall say goodbye, and at the end of 5, I shall go. Now, a pawn moves 2 squares in its first move. So you will go very quickly through the 3rd square. By railway, I should think. This will take you to the 4th square in no time. The 4th square is the home of Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Now the 5th square is mostly water. And the 6th square belongs to Humpty Dumpty. The 7th square is mostly forest. One of the knights will show you the way. And at the 8th square, you become queen. We'll be queens together, and it shall be all feasting and fun. Now remember, point your toes out when you walk. Speak in French if you cannot remember the English for a thing. And most important, remember who you are. Goodbye.
The Red Queen said I am a white pawn and should reach the 3rd and 4th square by railway. How is that to be?
Please.
Thank you.
Ticket, please.
There you are.
Now then, show your ticket, child.
Don't keep him waiting, child. Why, his time is worth £1,000 a minute.
I'm afraid I haven't got one. There wasn't a ticket office where I came from.
There wasn't room for one where she came from. The land there's worth £1,000 an inch.
I shall dream about £1,000 tonight.
Quite.
Don't make excuses. You should have bought one from the engine driver. Next stop, oh, the cracked engine. Where the smoke loader's worth £1,000 a
Hello.
Huh. Thousands and thousands of pounds.
You're traveling the wrong way. Next stop, 3rd square.
Well, here we go then.
Ma'am,
Yes.
a bit confused?
Well, I
Just
see.
have to go back. From here is luggage.
Oh, yes, yes. She must have my toast. She must.
Just a second.
Quite. Quite. She
this railway journey at all. I'm just trying to get into the 4th square.
Next up, 4th square. Egg line. Everyone up!
Well, I made it. But here's journey. I made it to the 4th square. The square of Tweedledee and Tweedledum. I can't stay long. I'll just introduce myself and say, how do you do, and ask them the way onto the 5th square. Huh.
If you think we're waxworks, you ought to pay, you know? Waxworks weren't made to be looked at for nothing, nohow.
Contrary-wise, if you think we're real, you ought to speak.
I'm sorry.
You've begun wrong. The first thing to say in a visit is how do you do, and shake hands.
Here we go round the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush. Here we go round the mulberry bush so early in the morning.
Oh, that was certainly fun.
4 times around is enough for one dance.
Oh, I hope you're not too tired.
Nohow. But thank you so much for asking.
So much obliged. You like poetry?
Yes, pretty well.
What shall I repeat to her?
The Jabberwock.
Oh.
It's quite long.
'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did guard.
If it's quite long, could you pause it? Okay.
'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy were the borogoves, and the mome rafts outgrave. Beware the Jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the jub-jub bird and shun, the frumious bandersnatch. He took his purple sword in hand, long time to make some foe he sought. So rested he by the tum-tum tree, and stood a while in thought. And as in uppish thought he stood, the Jabberwock with eyes of flame came shuffling through the tulgey wood, and burbled as it came. 1, 2, 1, 2, and through, the purple blade went snicker-snack. He left it dead, and with its head he went galumphing back. And hast thou slain the Jabberwock? Come to my arms, my beamish boy. O frabjous day, callooh-callay, he chortled in his joy. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy were the borogoves, and the mome rafts outgrave.
It's very interesting, but rather hard to understand.
Well, you are rather hard to understand, but it does not matter, for you are not real, and only in our dream.
But I am too real.
Contrary-wise, you are only real in our dream. When we wake up, you shall not exist. Ditto, ditto, ditto.
But I am real.
You won't make yourself a bit realer by crying. There's nothing to cry about.
If I wasn't real, I should be able to cry.
Oh, I hope you don't suppose those are real tears.
You're talking nonsense. At any rate, I need to get into the 5th square.
Do you think it's going to rain?
Oh,
No, I don't think so. Nohow. At least, not over here. It may rain outside, though.
it may, if it chooses. We've no objection, contrary-wise. Did you see that?
It's only a rattle, quite old and broken.
I know what it is, but it's not old. I just bought it yesterday. It's my nice new
Of course. You agreed to have a battle. Oh, I suppose so. But she must help us dress up, you know.
somehow or another. The pots will keep our heads from being cut off.
Oh, you know, that is one of the most serious things that can happen to one in battle, to get one's head cut off. I'm normally very brave. Only today I have a headache. Oh, I can still fight. But I don't care about going on too long.
What time is it now?
4:30.
Let's fight until 6, then have dinner.
Oh, agreed. I just hit everything in sight when I get really excited. I don't suppose there'll be a tree standing for ever so far around by the time we've finished.
And all over a rattle. The White Queen. Maybe she can direct me to the 5th square. Am I addressing the White Queen?
Bread and butter, bread and butter.
Am I addressing the White Queen?
Well, yes, if you call that addressing. I've been addressing myself for the last 2 hours, and everything is dreadfully untidy. Every single thing is crooked.
Can I put your shawl on for you? In what a state your hair is in.
The comb has gotten tangled in it, and I lost the brush yesterday.
Really? You really should have a lady's maid.
I'm sure I'll take you with pleasure. 2 pence a week and jam every other day.
I don't want you to hire me, and I don't care for jam.
It's very good jam.
Well, I don't want any today, not at any rate.
You couldn't have it today if you did want it. The rule is jam yesterday and jam tomorrow, but never jam today.
I don't understand. That's dreadfully confusing.
That's the effect of living backwards. It makes one a little giddy at first.
Living backwards. I've never even heard of such a thing.
But there is one great advantage in it, that one's memory works both ways.
What sorts of things do you remember best?
Oh, things that happened the week after next. For instance, there's the king's messenger, being punished for a crime he'll commit next Wednesday.
Suppose he never commits the crime.
That would be all the better, wouldn't it? I suppose you've been punished before for your faults. And weren't you the better after the punishment? Oh, my finger's bleeding!
Oh, what happened? Did you prick it?
I haven't yet, but I soon shall.
When do you expect to do it?
When I fasten my shawl again, the brooch will come undone directly. That accounts for the bleeding, you see. Now you understand the way things work here.
But why don't you scream now?
Why? I've already done the screaming. What would be the good in having it all over again? Child, what brings you here?
I am your white pawn on a journey from the 2nd square to the 8th, where I shall be queen with you and the Red Queen. It's feasting and fun. But I seem to have lost my ways. Tweedledee and Tweedledum were quite amusing, but not much help. Can you direct me to the 5th square?
The 5th square? Why, you entered it when we crossed that brook together. What a brave girl, and how far you have advanced. The 6th square. Yes, I know the way. To get to the 6th square, all you need to do is cross that brook.
Thank you so much. Will you come with me?
Thank you, but no, I must attend to my new lady's maid.
But I thought you didn't have one.
I will select her next week. She begins tomorrow.
So she will have jam.
Precisely. Goodbye.
That must be him. Humpty Dumpty himself. I'm as certain of it as if his name were written all over his face. And how exactly like an egg he is.
It's very provoking to be called an egg. Very. Some people have no more sense than a baby.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty in his place again.
Stop standing there, chattering to yourself like that.
Why do you sit out here all alone?
Why? Because there's nobody here with me. Did you think I didn't know the answer to that? Ask another.
Don't you think you'd be safer down on the ground?
What tremendously easy riddles you ask. Of course I don't think so. Why, if ever I did fall, which there's no chance of, but if I did fall, if I did, the king has promised me with his very own mouth to
send all of his horses and all of his men.
Yes, all his horses and all his men. They'd pick me up again in a minute, they would.
I do so like your tie. Belt? Collar?
It's a cravat, child, and a beautiful one, as you say. It was a present from the White King and Queen. There now. They gave it to me for an unbirthday present.
I beg your pardon?
I'm not offended.
I mean, what's an unbirthday present?
A present given when it isn't your birthday, of course.
I like birthday presents best.
You don't know what you're talking about. How many days are there in a year?
365.
And how many birthdays have you?
1.
And if you take 1 from 365, what remains?
364, of course.
Exactly. That shows that there are 364 days on which you might receive an unbirthday present. And only one a birthday present, you know?
Unbirthday presents. How clever. You seem very clever at explaining words. Would you kindly tell me the meaning of a poem called Jabberwocky?
Let's hear it. I can explain all the poems that were ever invented, and a great many that haven't been invented just yet.
'Twas Brillig and the slithy toves, de Guy and Gimble in the wave. Oh, Mimsy were the Borogoves, and the mome rats all grave.
That's enough for now. There are plenty of hard words there. Brillig means 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the time when you begin broiling things for dinner. Slithy means lithe and slimy. Lithe is the same thing as active. There are 2 meanings packed up in one word.
I see it now. What are toves?
Well, toves are something like badgers. There's something like lizards, and there's something like corkscrews.
They're very curious-looking creatures.
They are that. And they make their nests under sundials, and they live on cheese.
Oh. And what's to gyre and to gimble?
To gyre is to go round and round like a gyroscope, and to gimble is to make holes like a gimlet.
And the wave?
The grass plot round a sundial. It's called a wave, you know, because it goes a long way before it and a long way behind it. Well then, Mimsy is flimsy and miserable, and a Borogold is a thin, shabby-looking bird with its feathers sticking out all around. Something like a live moth. A rat is a sort of green pig, but mole I'm not certain about. I think it's short for from home, meaning that they lost their way, you know. Who's been repeating all this hard stuff for you?
Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Ah, the 4th square. Is that all?
I beg your pardon.
I told you, you didn't offend me. If that's all, then goodbye. I shouldn't know you if we did meet again. Your face is the same as everybody has. The 2 eyes, the nose in the middle, the mouth under, and so on. Now, if you had 2 eyes on the same side of the nose, for instance, or the mouth at the top, that would be some help.
It wouldn't look nice.
Wait till you've tried it. Bye.
It's probably from all that stuff. I told him he should have sat on the ground. Of all the unsatisfactory people I've ever met, he would never give me directions down to the 7th square.
Oh, I sent them all. Did you happen to meet any soldiers, my dears, who came to the wood?
Yes.
I couldn't sell them the horses, you know, because 2 of them are wanted in the game. I haven't sent the 2 messengers either. They've both gone to town. Just look along the road and tell me if you can see either of them.
I see nobody on the road.
Ouch eyes with such eyes, to be able to see nobody. Not that distance, too. Why, as much as I can do to see real people by this light.
Wait, I see somebody coming now, but he's coming very slowly. No curious attitudes he goes into.
He only does that when he's happy. His name is Javier. The other messenger is called Hansa. I must have 2 messengers, you know. One to come, the other to go.
I beg your pardon?
It isn't polite to beg. I feel faint. Give me a sandwich. Another sandwich.
I'm afraid there's nothing but hay left now.
Hey, then. There's nothing like eating hay when you're faint.
I should think pouring cold water over you would be better.
I didn't say there's nothing better. I said there's nothing like it. Who did you pass on the road?
Nobody.
Quite right. The young lady's son too. So clearly nobody walks slower than you.
I do my best. I'm sure nobody walks much faster than I do.
You can't do that, or so you've been here first. Tell us, what do you know of how the game progresses?
Well, the lion and the unicorn are fighting for the crown. The white queen advances quickly across the board.
Look, look! There she is now. She came flying out of those woods yonder. Oh, fast as queens can run.
There's some enemy after her, no doubt. That wood's full of them.
But aren't you going to run and help her?
No use, no use. She runs so fearfully quick, you might as well try to catch a bandersnatch. But I'll make a memo ratum about her, if you like. She's such a dear creature. Do you spell creature with a double E?
The king's messenger is released from jail, not me, but the other one. And the White Knight has just moved onto square 6. Aha! Here they both are now! Oh, the poor messenger. He hadn't time to finish his tea when he was sent into prison. And they only give him oyster shells in there. How are you, dear child? Were you happy in prison? Oh, speak, can't you?
Yes, speak, and tell us who you saw on the road.
What is this?
Is it animal, vegetable, or mineral?
It's a child. We only found it today. It's large in life and twice as natural.
I always thought they were fabulous monsters.
Yes, what a fabulous monster. Is it alive?
It can talk.
Talk, child.
You must be very hungry, thirsty, having just come from prison.
Come, fetch out the plum cake. My messenger is hungry, and we must celebrate his release. Open the bag.
Hand round the clump.
Yes, hand round the plum cake.
Hand round the plum cake. What a time the monster is cutting up that cake.
I've cut several slices already, but they always join on again.
You don't know how to manage looking glass cakes. Hand it round first and cut it afterwards.
What's happening?
The lion and unicorn are battling for the crown again. We must go.
Wait, before you go, could you tell me the way onto the 7th square?
Continue through those woods until you come across a small brook. Cross over the brook and you onto the Sun Square. Keep watch for nobody. He may dwell in those woods.
Be brave, child monster.
I made it. I safely crossed onto the 7th square. And now onto the 8th, where I shall finally be a queen.
Hoy, Chet, you are my prisoner! You are my...
Check.
She's my prisoner, you know.
Yes, but then I came and rescued her.
Well, you just fight for her then.
You will observe the rules of battle.
I always do.
That must be the first rule of battle. If you miss your opponent, you fall down. That must be the second rule of battle. If you collide with your opponent, you fall down. That must be the third rule of battle. If you hit your opponent, the opponent must fall down. How curious.
It was a glorious victory, wasn't it?
I don't want to be anybody's prisoner. I want to be a queen.
And so you will, once you cross the next brook. I'll see you safe to the edge of the wood, and then I must go back, you know. That's the end of my move.
Thank you so much. Do you know the way?
Of course. You owe me a few yards to go, over the hill and across the next little brook, and then you shall be a queen. I hope you have your hair well fastened on.
Only in the usual way.
Oh, that's hardly enough. You see, the wind is so very strong here. As strong as soup.
Then what does one do to keep their hair from being blown off?
You're in luck. I'm a great hand at inventing things, you see. I have a plan for keeping it from falling off. First, you take an upright stick, and then you make your hair creep up it like a fruit tree. You see, the reason the hair falls off is because it hangs down. Things never fall upwards, you know. It's a plan of my own invention. You may try it if you like.
It doesn't sound very comfortable. Do you use your sword often?
Only to guard against the bites of sharks.
Do you encounter sharks often?
None to speak of.
Huh.
Ah, here we are, child. The final brook. When you cross it, you shall be queen. But you'll stay and see me off first.
Oh, of course I'll wait. And thank you so much for coming so far.
It shan't be long. You'll stay and wave your handkerchief when I get to the turn of the road? I think it will encourage me, you see.
Well, I hope I'm watching you, encouraged you. And now for the final brook. Onto the 8th square and to be a queen at last. How grand it sounds.
Hip, hip, hooray, Queen Alice! Hip, hip, hooray, Queen Alice! Hip, hip, hooray, Queen Alice!
Oh, how grand this all is. I never expected I should be a queen so soon. And if I really am a queen, I should be able to manage it quite well in time.
What do you mean by if you really are a queen? Why, what right do you call yourself such? You cannot be a queen until you pass the proper examinations. And the sooner we begin, the better.
Can you do addition? What's 1 and 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 1?
I don't know. I lost count.
She can't do addition. Can you do subtraction? Take 9 from 8. What remains?
9 from 8. I can't, you know,
She
but...
can't do subtraction. Can you do division? Divide a loaf by a knife. What's the answer for that?
I suppose...
Bread and butter, of course. Let's try another subtraction sum. Take a bone from a dog. What remains?
Well, the bone shouldn't remain if I took it, and the dog would remain. It would come bite me. And then I'm sure I shouldn't remain.
So you think no one would remain?
I think that's the answer.
Wrong, as usual. The dog's temper would remain.
She can't do sums a bit.
Can you do sums?
I can do addition if you give me time, and I'll tell you a secret. I can read words of 1 letter. However, don't be discouraged. You'll come to it in time.
Can you answer useful questions? How is bread made?
I know that. You take some flour.
Where do you pick the flower? In a garden or in hedges? It's ground. How many acres of ground? You mustn't leave out so many things.
Can you speak languages? What's the French for fiddle-dee-dee?
If you tell me what language fiddle-dee-dee is, I'll tell you French for it.
A queen never makes bargains.
I wish queens never asked questions.
Ooh, don't let us quarrel. What is the cause of lightning?
Thunder. Wait, no.
You can't change your answer once you've gone back. Once you've said a thing, that fixes it. And you must take the consequences.
Which reminds me, we had such a thunderstorm last Tuesday. I mean, one of the last set of Tuesdays.
Your Majesty really must excuse her. She means well, but says foolish things as a general rule.
You called me your majesty. I must be a queen now.
Well, of course you are. Whoever said that you weren't?
All this talking nonsense.
Is sleepy. I'll rest my eyes for just a minute.
Nonsense. A queen does not get sleepy at banquet. Who drink a toast to your health? To Queen Alice's health.
What did you
To Queen Alice's health. You won't return thanks in a neat speech.
Oh, thank you, but I really am much too tired. It really has been an extraordinary day.
Beneath a sunny sky, lingering onward dreamily in an evening of July.
Children, please, that goes for rear. In your eye and woman ear. Please, a simple tale here. Long has paled that sunny sky, echoes fade and memories die. Autumn frosts have slain July. Still, she haunts me, phantom-wise. Alice, moving under skies never seen by waking eyes.
Children yet, its hail to hear, eager eye, willing ear, lovingly shall nestle near.
In a wonderland they lie, dreaming as the days go by, dreaming as the summers die. Ever drifting down the stream, lingering in the golden gleam. Life, what is it but a dream? gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you. As Doug Lothian said earlier this evening, it's taken over 70 people to put this together. There's been one and one and one and one and one. There's Jeff McCard back at the soundboard. There's Vicki Olsen at the piano. There's John Faith who created smoke. There's Betsy Ward who invented these costumes. There have been two, though, who have been more important than any for the creation of the Bards and for creating this production, and that's Doug and Beth Lothian. Would you join me? Community, but a family, which is Alice. Welcome to the family.